Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today is all about opening up and energizing the whole body so that you radiate joy, confidence, and energy. As always, play where you are, modify if you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up standing towards the top end of the mat with enough room to step back. Find a comfortable stance with your feet maybe just inside of hip width distance apart. Stand up nice and tall. Start to drop the shoulders away from the ears. Tuck your tailbone under. Pull your belly button in. Start to find a sense of length, not only through the spine, but through the legs and the whole body. Float your hands into Jupiter Mudra by interlacing your fingers, bringing your index fingers together and crossing at the thumbs, so that you're making a little steeple-like shape with your hands. Place that mudra in front of your heart, looking for a sense of length through the whole body. Then begin to extend that steeple up towards the sky, thinking of piercing the sky. Take a big breath in and take a stretch off center to one side, bumping your hips in the opposite direction. Inhale to come back. Exhale to take it to the other side. As you float back to the center, start to trace a big circle with your steeple on the ceiling in one direction. And then bump your hips off center to one side again, bring it back to the middle, bump off center to the other side, come back to the middle, and trace that circular pattern on the ceiling in the opposite direction this time. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, you're going to fold into a tabletop line. So think of hinging forward from the waist, reaching with that little steeple for the wall in front of you. Then begin to bend through the legs, maybe dropping your hands to the top of your shins, and begin to bend and extend dynamically through the legs. If you've got the range of motion, you can float those fingertips all the way down to the mat. Step back into a plank line. Look for a sense of length through the entire body. Relax the knees, the shins, and the feet to the mat. Bend the elbows, but keep them hugging into center as you bleed your way all the way down to the belly. Relax your forehead to the mat. Take a big breath in and then start to peel up into a gentle cobra line. Starting to disconnect your chest from the mat. Maybe you're stopping with your bottom rib connected and your elbows tucked in. Or maybe you'd like to begin extending through the arms. Coming into a full cobra with your legs still attached to the mat. Then change up the frame and come into an up dog by tucking your toes under. Bringing the thighs off the floor, holding that slightly crescent shape through the back as you find your up dog. Then morph into a down dog by piking your bum up to the sky. Slide your feet in slightly so that you can start stretching up the back chain of the leg. Keep your left leg anchored and begin to trace a big circular pattern with the right foot. Big sweeping motions. Give yourself a couple of circles here. And then think knee to nose and take a big lunge step forward to the inside of the right hand, making sure you've got knee over ankle. Anchor in the back foot at about 45. We're coming into a warrior one-like frame. And you're going to bring your hands into Jupiter Mudra once more as you float them overhead, piercing the sky with your index fingers. Take a couple of big breaths here. Wiggling your front foot forward and making sure you've got knee over ankle. Then keep the right leg, or rather keep the right front leg where it is. Keep your right hand where it is and drop the left hand to your thigh behind you. Just reaching up nice and tall and thinking of trying to increase that crescent shape in your back as you come into a modification of peaceful warrior. Then straighten up your lead leg and begin to hinge forward at the waist, coming into a triangle, trying to maybe drop your hand to the inseam of your lead leg, or maybe even fingertips to floor, and open up the arms into a soft T-frame as you find Utthita Trikonasana, open triangle. Look for a sense of opening, trying to rotate the left hip on top of the right. Then reverse your triangle. Keep your legs as they are, but start to drop the top hand towards the bottom leg as you think of that almost Usain Bolt-like frame looking up towards the sky. Try to breathe nice and deeply into your chest. We're going to find our way into a little balancing half moon from here. Start to drop the lead hand down, bend the lead leg, drop your lead hand to the floor, and pick up the back leg behind you, maybe trying to forge once more an almost T-like frame through the arms. Then connect both hands to the mat, so you're pivoting slightly through the trunk. Bend the lead leg and tap the back knee to your calf, and then kick up again and begin playing with that movement, bending through both knees, tapping the back knee to the front calf, and then kicking up the back leg again, building up that energy in the legs. Then step your legs back into your original start position on the mat, and ragdoll style begin to peel up, leading with the back of your ribs. Find your way back into Jupiter Mudra as you stand up nice and tall in your modified Samasthiti. Big breath in, pierce the sky with your index fingers. Keep your tailbone tucked under, belly button pulled in. Exhale to bump off center to one side, so a little palm tree sway, one to each side. And then trace that big circle on the ceiling with your steeple fingertips. Then a little palm tree sway to each side. And then trace in the opposite direction that little circular pattern on the ceiling. Big breath in, you're going to fold forward into a tabletop position, trying to keep the weight bearing as equal as you can on the balls and the heels of your feet. Then soften the knees. Loose fold forward, maybe hands on the shins as you begin bending and extending, or maybe fingertips to floor or palms to floor if you have the range of motion. Then step back one leg at a time and ease your way into a plank line. Pause here, looking for strength, so strongly pushing the mat away. Body line as parallel to the mat as you can. Relax the knees, the shins and the feet. Bend the elbows as we work a modified chaturanga, but make sure you're doing it nice and slowly, working with control. Tap your forehead to the mat, take a big breath in, and then begin to peel up into your cobra, keeping it small. Or maybe you'd like to begin extending through the arms as you lift your chest and maybe the top of your thighs off the mat. Morph into an up dog by tucking your toes under and starting to lift the rest of your legs off the mat so that you're literally only connected by your palms and your toes to the mat. Then reverse the frame, coming into a down dog, pike your bum up to the sky, maybe sliding your feet in slightly so that you can get more stretch up the back chain of your legs. Start to trace big circular motions with the left leg. Doesn't matter which direction you're tracing in. I'm working with a back stroke, but you could use a forward stroke if you prefer. Then take a big lunge step forward with the left leg, anchoring the back foot at 45. Find your way into a Jupiter Warrior One. Front leg is bent, knee over ankle, back leg is angled in slightly at 45 so that your hips are looking to the front of the mat as you're trying to drop down nice and heavy through the pelvis. Then keep your left hand where it is, relax your right hand and connect it to your back leg, coming into a reverse peaceful warrior. Then straighten up the lead leg. We're coming into triangle, begin hinging forward from the waist and drop your lead arm to the inside or the inseam of the lead leg and think of forging an almost T-like frame through your arms. Try to get more rotation on the top shoulder and hip, looking up towards the sky. Give yourself a few generous breaths here. And then reverse the triangle, dropping your back hand to your back leg, and allowing the other arm and your gaze to look up towards the ceiling. We're going to find our way into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana from here. Begin bending the lead leg, start to relax down to the floor, connecting your lead hand to the floor. You're going to push off the back leg, start rotating on the top hip, and then open up into a soft, almost T-like frame through the arms. We're keeping soft arms, soft legs today. Then think of pivoting slightly through the hips, connecting both hands to the mat. Bend both legs, think back knee to calf, and kick back up. Back knee to calf, kick back up. Give yourself a few dynamic taps here. And then ease your way back into your original standing frame. Ragdoll style, you're going to peel up. Lever the back of your ribs. There's a slight contraction in the core as you restack, realign, standing up nice and tall to find Jupiter Mudra once more. Big breath in. Float your steeple overhead. One palm tree sway to each side. And then use your index fingers to trace that big circle on the sky. One palm tree sway to each side. Trace your circle in the opposite direction. Big breath in. Fold forward into a tabletop position. Try to keep the weight as equal as you can on the balls and the heels of your feet. And your ears are almost framed on either side. Then start to soften the knees. Place your hands on your shins or maybe on the floor as you begin to dynamically bend and extend through your legs. Take a big lunge step back and find your way into plank. Pause here, looking for that strength through the core and the arms. Relax your knees, your shins and your feet. Bend the elbows, hug them into center as you chaturanga down, tapping your forehead and your nose to the mat. Keep your elbows tucked in as you bleed into a cobra. Maybe staying small with your bottom rib on the mat, or maybe extending through the arms if the back is feeling good. Then tuck your toes under, bring the rest of your thighs off the floor. Find an up dog, strong core, strong arms. Morph into a down dog. Slide those feet in. Try to get more anchor through the back chain of your legs. And then begin to trace that big circular pattern on the right, sweeping your right leg in a big round shape. We're going to take a big lunge step forward to the inside of the right hand, this time keeping the toes of the back foot tucked under, and slide the foot away as you peel up, trying to fist your hands if you can and bring them overhead, almost mimicking what we were doing in the first round with the warrior one, but trying to have a lower frame to the mat. All your knuckles are looking up to the sky, and you're trying to even out the weight distribution on the arms and the legs. You're going to try to keep this fisted position as you come into a warrior three. So begin to lean forward, transferring the weight from the back leg to the front leg. You could use the toes of the back foot if you need to. And you're going to try to come into a tabletop position. Then relax both hands to the floor and give me a twisted half moon. So you're twisting towards your lead leg with your left hand softly anchoring you on the mat. Then reconnect both hands to the mat, bend both knees, tap the back knee to the back calf, and kick back up to the sky. Maybe 5 or 6 times. Allowing the blood to pool gently in your head. Then step your feet back into parallel. Ragdoll style, leading with the back of your ribs, bleed back up into your modified Samasthiti and bring your hands to Jupiter Mudra. Big breath in, begin to find that steeple. Give me a palm tree sway to each side. Then use your fingertips to trace that big circle on the sky. One palm tree sway to each side. Use your index fingers to trace that circle in the opposite direction. Exhale as you come down in table, framing your ears on either side. Pause here, looking for that length through the arms and the spine. Stretch the back chain of your legs. Then begin to soften through the knees. Place your hands on your shins or the floor as you begin to dynamically bend and extend through the legs. Step it back into a plank. Pause, look for that strength, that control. Radiate power and energy. Relax your knees, your shins and your feet. Bend your elbows and chaturanga down, tapping your forehead and your nose to the mat. Then begin bleeding gently up into a cobra. Maybe you'd like to stop small in your baby bhujangasana, or maybe you'd like to extend fully through the arms so that the tops of your thighs and your legs and your palms are connected to the mat. Then begin tucking your toes under, morph into an up dog. Transition into a down dog, sliding the feet in as you do so, making almost a triangular frame between the arms and the legs. And then begin to trace a big circle with your left leg. Big sweeping motions, maybe brushing your toes over the mat. Inhaling for half your circle, exhaling for the other half. Take a big lunge step forward to the inside of the left hand. Back toes are tucked under, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. You're going to peel up into a high lunge, so Samvustasana, and we're going to have those hands in little fists overhead, knuckles looking up to the sky. Try to push back the weight into the back heel so it feels like the weight's relatively evenly dispersed between the front and the back leg. Ease your way from here into a warrior three. You're going to begin leaning the weight slightly forward, push off the back leg, use your toes if you need to, and try to make more or less a tabletop line with the shoulders and the hips as level as you can on both sides. Then relax both hands to the floor and give me a twisted half moon by rotating towards your lead leg. So the right hand is on the floor, left hand is looking up. Then reconnect both hands to the floor, bend both knees, tap the back knee to the back calf and kick back up to the sky. Giving yourself a few rounds here, playing with the movement dynamically, building up that energy and that heat in the body. Step your legs back into parallel, ragdoll style, peel up. Find your way into Jupiter Mudra and look for that sense of length through the spine as you tuck the tailbone under. Big breath in to float your index fingers up to the sky. One palm tree sway to each side. And then using your index fingers to trace a big circle on the ceiling. Then one more palm tree sway to each side, opening up to the sides of your body. And then trace that big circle in the opposite direction. Big breath in, exhale to hinge forward and come into a tabletop line. Looking for that length through the arms, the neck, the spine. Then begin to bend the knees, place the hands on the shins or on the floor and begin to bend and extend dynamically through the legs. Maybe holding a full forward fold if you can for a moment. Legs should be nicely warm now. Then step it back into a plank. If the plank is not happening for you, just drop into a 4-point kneel and hold nice and strong. Then relax your knees, your shins and your feet. Bend the elbows, but keep hugging them in towards the ribs as you find your way down onto the belly, relaxing your forehead and your nose to the mat. And bleed up into a cobra, pretending you've got a little marble underneath your nose and beginning to roll it away from you. Maybe you're extending through the arms, but keep those shoulders dropped away from the ears. Tuck your toes under. Lift the tops of your thighs off the floor, strong through the belly, strong through the legs, strong through the shoulders and the arms. Pike into a down dog, maybe sliding the feet in slightly. Get more anchor through the back chain of your legs. Then begin to trace a big lazy circle with the right leg. Inhaling for half, exhaling for the other half, while keeping your bum piked up nice and high. Then take a big lunge step forward to the inside of the outside of the right hand. So your foot is splayed out slightly at 45 and your hands are still anchoring underneath each shoulder. Pause here, keeping that front foot slightly angled out. You could even knife edge the front foot if you want to so that you get more wrap around into the inner thigh. Then relax the back knee, shin and foot. Keep leaning forward into your lizard Uttan Pristhasana as if you were trying to hook your chin over the edge of the mat. Then start to rotate your head to look towards your lead knee, maybe even taking your right hand and using the palm to push the right knee and thigh away from you so that you feel more opening into the hip area. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you like to try to come into a little lizard bind. For the lizard bind, you're going to focus on trying to connect to your back foot. Maybe lifting the back foot off the mat. You could bump your hips back slightly if you need to connect to the back foot, and then try to refine your shape by knife edging the front foot, allowing it to splay out and coming back into your lizard, while gently trying to bring the back foot closer towards your bum. Try not to tense that back leg if you are bringing the foot in towards your bum. Try to relax the back quad and hamstring. Then relax the back foot to the mat. We're coming into a deep squat, Malasana. Ground your right foot and try to take the same step out on the left side. Dropping your bum bones down to the floor. Maybe both of your hands are connected to the mat and you're just using your elbow points to push the knees away. Or maybe you'd like to bring your hands into Prana Mudra in front of your heart while keep dropping down through your bum bones. Then maybe dropping the right palm to the inside of the right foot, using your arm to push against the inseam of the leg as you take a soft rotational twist with your body and your left arm in the opposite direction. Then inhale to come back to center. Let's try the same on side 2. Place your left palm on the inside of the left foot. Use your whole arm to push against the inseam of the left leg, and then twist your body in the opposite direction and gently throw the right arm up to the sky. Find your way back to center, maybe using your elbow points to push the knees open while bringing your hands into active prayer. So pushing both palms actively into one another. Then drop your hands to the floor and think of squaring up your feet so that you're now on the inside of your mat, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, and just fold forward. Maybe to reach around for the inside of your ankles, or maybe the inside of your calves, or maybe you're holding up higher along the chain of the leg. Just allow for a little inversion of the blood. Maybe rock the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels, pausing when you're feeling tightness. Stay here or use this as an opportunity to find your way into Crow Bakasana. Place your fingertips on the mat and heel toe in till your feet are in parallel. Think of coming up onto the toes, tapping the heels together and then allowing your knees to splay out to the side of the room so that you're in a little butterfly-like frame. Place both of your hands on the floor, hands are more or less shoulder width apart. There are 2 ways to come into it. You can either just bend the elbow, think Pilates ring, your arms being the Pilates ring, and then squeeze your knees into that Pilates ring as you lean forward, looking off the front of your mat as a counterbalance, and then try to lift one foot and maybe the other foot off the mat, tapping the big toes together and keeping them hovering off the mat while resting the weight of your knees on your triceps. If that feels hard for you, you can maybe change it up slightly. So once you've found your butterfly-like frame, come up high, bum towards the sky, and try to tuck your knees in maybe closer towards your armpit. And then try to come into your crow from there. If liftoff is not something that's happening for you today, you can just play with the movement. So once you've found your butterfly frame, you can just rock the weight onto your triceps and then back to your start position. So almost lifting the toes off the mat, but maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe you're not ready, and that core connection and that confidence isn't quite there yet. Then ease your way from here back into a standing frame, ragdolling your body up. Find your way back into Jupiter Mudra. Big breath in for the last time. Float your index fingers towards the sky. And then take a little palm tree bump off center to each side. Then use your index fingers to trace a big circle on the sky. Give me one more palm tree sway to each side. And then trace that circular pattern in the opposite direction. Take a big breath in, inch forward into a tabletop line, framing your head between the two arms. Then begin to relax the knees, placing the hands on the top of your thighs as you bend and extend, or maybe you've got hands to shins or hands to floor. Step it back, ease your way into plank, find that strength, that confidence. Relax your knees, your shins and your feet to the floor, bend the elbows, chaturanga down with control. Tap your forehead and your nose to the mat. And then bleed up into your cobra, starting to lift your chest and your head off the floor, maybe playing small, or maybe you'd like to extend through the arms. Then tuck your toes under, lift the tops of your thighs off the mat and come into an up dog. Beginning to morph into a down dog as you pike your bum up to the sky and maybe slide the feet in closer so that you can get more drop down through the back of your legs. Start to trace that big circular pattern with the left leg in big sweeping motions, brushing your toes along the mat as you do so. Inhaling for half, exhaling for the other half. Take a big lunge step out to the outside of the left hand. Maybe splaying that foot slightly out at 45. Settle into your lizard and try to drop down as low as you can through the pelvis. Maybe you even knife edging that front foot. Or maybe you'd like to play with a soft rolling-like motion if the leg is still really tight. Then relax the back knee, shin and foot. Keep the front foot knife edged or grounded, whichever you prefer. Looking off the front of the mat as if you were trying to hook your chin over the top of your mat. Then maybe starting to look towards your lead leg, look towards that knee. Maybe use your left hand to push the knee and the thigh away. Staying here in your twisted lizard, or maybe using this as an opportunity to set up your bind. Floating your back foot off the mat, you can bump the hips back as you reach opposite hand to foot. Once you've found the foot, relax the back leg so that you can tap to your bum and then just bump the weight forward again, knife edging or grounding the front foot, whichever you prefer. Hold. Feel that awesome stretch into your back quad. And relax the back leg to the floor. Ground your front foot and come into deep squat malasana by replicating that step out on the other side. Maybe both hands are staying on the floor and you're just using your triceps to prise your knees open, or maybe you prefer to come to an active prayer and bring those two palms together using your elbow points to prise your knees open. Drop your bum bones down towards the floor. Take a big breath in and drop your left palm to the inseam of the left leg, hand on the floor. And start to rotate and look in the opposite direction, sweeping up the right arm. Find your way back to the middle. Use your elbow points, whether your hands are in prayer, whether they're on the floor, or whether you've opted to just make more of a cactus-like frame through your arms. Give yourself a moment here, drop those bum bones down to the floor. Then place your right palm on the floor on the inside of the right foot. Use the whole arm to brace against the right leg as you twist in the opposite direction. Come back to the midline. Give yourself a few breaths here. And drop both hands to the floor and think of squaring up through your feet so you're in a narrow prasarita. Tip forward, binding from the inside of your legs. So maybe you're holding onto the inside of the calves or the ankles, or it could be higher up along the chain of the leg. And just pause here, playing with that weight in your feet. So maybe put everything into the balls of your feet. Pause there, see what that feels like. Then push the weight back into your heels. Pause there, see what that feels like. Play with it. Staying here or looking for an opportunity to try out Bakasana Crow. Placing your fingertips on the mat, heel toeing in, pull your back in parallel. Then think of coming up onto the toes, starting to tap the two heels together. Toes start to look out to the side of the room, bending the knees and coming into a butterfly line. Placing both hands on the floor in front of you. Bending the elbows, squeezing into your triceps. Or you can come up bum high, bringing the knees in closer towards your armpit, and then relaxing into the frame as you try to bring one and then the other set of toes off the mat. In the beginning, remember to actively use your nose and your chin as a counterbalance, so looking off the front of the mat. And if lift off isn't for you, just try to find that core connection by rocking into the triceps, pausing there with all your weight forward, and then rocking back when you feel you need to. Play with it. Maybe magic will happen today and you will fly. Remember, radiate confidence. From here, we're going to find our way into a seated frame on the mat. Maybe placing the fingertips on the floor behind you and extending the legs one at a time. Make sure you've got enough room to fully extend it. Then bend your knees and come into a modified boat. We're going to tip the weight just off the tailbone, and we're going to keep just the big toes, not the whole foot, just the big toes connected to the mat with maybe fingertips on the floor alongside you. Holding that tip-toe position, you're going to tap and extend on the right side a few times. Then begin to drag both sets of toes out in front of you. Bring your hands to Jupiter Mudra in line with your shoulders. Brace into your feet. You're going to give me an L lean forward and an L lean backwards. And start to seesaw your body forwards and backwards, keeping your belly button firmly pulled into center while you play with that little seesaw motion. You're going to end leaning forward, piercing this wall in front of you, and maybe tucking your head between your two arms as if you were trying to frame your ears on either side. Hold. And relax your hands to the floor. Start to drag your body weight back. Begin to bend the knees, connecting your big toes. Tip the weight off the center line. Find your modified boat, Navasana, and begin to dynamically tap and extend the left leg while keeping just the toes of the right foot firmly grounded. To hold your boat line, you need to think of pulling up from the pelvic floor towards your waistline. Then begin to extend both legs out in front. Find Jupiter Mudra, brace into your feet, and begin playing with that little L lean forward and an L lean back, looking for a sense of length through the spine. Exhale as you lean forward. Inhale as you lean back. So use a nice active breath pattern. In leaning forward, try to drop your head between the two arms, almost as if you were trying to frame your ears on either side, and just pause there in your modified Paschimottanasana, a seated forward fold. Then relax your hands to the mat and sit up nice and tall once more. Begin to drag your right big toes along the mat and firmly place your right foot on the floor on the inseam of the left leg. Start to twist towards that leg. Grab with your fingertips for the outside of the knee and use your fingertips of the left hand to just prop your back line up nice and tall, maybe actively pushing and bracing into both feet as you squeeze with your palm to pull the knee into center and resist with your knee. Then sit up nice and tall in your staff pose, Dandasana, and begin playing with that little seesaw. Your hands in Jupiter Mudra, reaching for the wall in front of you as you give yourself a few seesaw inhalations and exhalations here. End leaning forward, frame your ears on either side and hold the fold. Keeping your belly button gently pulled in to center. Then sit up nice and tall. Begin to bend the leg, drag the foot and place it on the mat. Start to twist towards the lead leg, grabbing opposite hand to knee. Pull in with the hand, resist with the knee, while trying to forge the longest spinal line that you can. Ease your way back into your high seat, Dandasana, and then begin to play with that little seesaw back and forwards. In folded forward, frame your ears on either side, brace actively into your feet so that not only the feet are working, but the back chain and the inseam of the legs. Drop the arms at your side, sit up nice and tall and begin bending the right knee, placing the sole of the foot on the inseam of the lead leg. Twist towards the right. So opposite hand to knee, find your first mariachi twist. And then keeping the legs as they are, twist your trunk in the opposite direction. This time you're pulling out and tugging in. So hand now on the same side of the body, tugging out, and you're pulling in with the knee. So you're looking for a little bit of opposition in that stretch. Then sit up nice and tall again. Find staff pose. Set up your hands in Jupiter and begin playing with that little L lean forward and that L lean backwards as you seesaw back and forth. And leaning forward, frame your ears on either side and hold the stretch. Relax your hands to the mat. Sit up nice and tall. Bend the left leg. Twist towards it. Opposite hand to knee. You're pulling in with the fingertips and the palm and you're resisting with the knee. Hold the leg line and then twist in the opposite direction. So hand on the same side now. Pulling out with the palm and the fingertips while you resist with the knee. Ease your way back into that tall seat. Find Jupiter Mudra and begin playing with that little seesaw forwards and backwards. You're going to give me a few seesaws here. Then we're going to hold the forward fold, framing your ears on either side, trying to get a little bit more stretch, a little bit more release into the lower back and the sacrum area. Pause here before we bring it onto the back. Relax your hands to the mat, sitting up nice and tall, and then just give me a soft roll down or fall back. For the fall back, you can just think of hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back, dropping onto the back, maybe hugging your knees in towards your chest as you connect to the mat. Then relax the soles of both feet to the mat. We're going to play on the right side of the body, thinking of kicking up the right leg to the sky and maybe bracing behind the thigh if you can. You can either keep your support leg bent, or if you like, you can extend it, brace actively into it. Keeping both feet active, you could work with a braced leg line or a soft toe line. Your choice. You're going to see if you can scoop to peel up off the shoulders, sliding your hands along the back chain of the legs so that you're aiming closer for the toes. Then begin to bend both knees and cross the right leg over the left. Reach with your fingertips for the top of each foot. So you might need to tuck into a tighter ball. We're coming into a modified Gomukhasana. And you're going to relax your shoulders and your head back to the mat while keeping the knees softly crossed and trying to hug the soles of your feet closer in towards your hip line. Just pause here, making your shoulders, your back and your head nice and heavy into the mat, keeping your chin softly relaxed towards your chest. Stay or play. If you like to play, you're going to keep holding onto your feet and you're going to begin dropping your body weight off center to the left. When your left foot taps the mat, slide the left leg away from you, trying to come into full extension, while you keep hugging your left foot towards your bum. Maybe staying here, looking in the same direction as your foot, or maybe you'd like to twist your head in the opposite direction. Then bleed your way back to center, so and then relaxing the hold on your back foot and coming into a figure 4 position through the legs. So your left ankle and foot is resting. Sorry, your right ankle and foot, I'm anatomically challenged today, is resting on your opposite thigh. Take a big breath in. Draw the left knee in towards 90. Maybe scooping to peel up off your shoulders. Feed your hands through to either wrap around the back of your left thigh, or for more of an intense stretch, you can try to bind around the shin. Then ease your head and your shoulders back to the mat and hold the figure 4 stretch. Kapokasana. A little supine pigeon. Try to keep your chin as soft as you can. Then unbind. Begin to fully extend the legs and the arms overhead and just take a little stretch here while holding neutral spine. Maybe you need to wiggle side to side if you're really tight through the hips. Make your belly as flat as you can and just reach as long as you can through the fingertips and the toes. Then bend both legs, connect the soles of your feet to the mat. Find your A-line stretch on the left. So beginning to extend the left leg up to the sky, trying to bind to the outside of the thigh. Maybe you're working with a soft toe line, maybe you prefer a brace. Then begin to extend your support leg if you can. Big breath in. Think almost of climbing a tree, so you can do an overhand motion, or you can just slide the arms up closer towards your ankle. Begin to bend both knees. Start to cross the left leg over the right. Then start to reach with your hands for the bridge of each foot. Relax your shoulders and your head back down to the mat. And keep hugging the soles of your feet in towards your hips as you come into your supine Gomukhasana, cow face. Hold the stretch here. Maybe you like to stay here or start dropping your weight off center to the right. As soon as your top foot connects to the mat, begin to extend the leg away from you, hugging the back foot into your bottom, and maybe turning to look over the left shoulder, or maybe you prefer to keep your head looking towards your fully extended left leg. Your choice. Pause here. And then try to retrace your path back. Let go of the bind on the back foot and find your way into a figure 4 position with the left ankle and foot resting on the right thigh. Take a big breath in. Draw the right knee up towards your nose. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders. Look through your thighs and maybe bleed your hands through to wrap around the outside of the right thigh, or maybe the shin if you prefer. Reconnect your head and your shoulders to the mat. Pause here. Take a couple of deep breaths, trying to relax your whole back line and your shoulder line into the mat. Then unbind. Begin to fully extend the legs and the arms and take a delicious stretch, fingertip to toe, while allowing for a comfortable neutral spine position. Then bend your knees once more, connect the soles of your feet to the mat and roll over onto your side, pushing up to find your way into a seated frame of your choice to end off today's practice. I'm going to come into Siddhasana, so I'm going to use a block as a prop. Using it as a little stool or a cushion, I'm going to sit my bum bones right on the edge of my prop and just think of coming into a comfortable cross-legged seated position on the mat, tucking one leg in front of the other. As you begin to find your seat, tuck the heels in as close towards the perineum as you can and wedge the block underneath you so that you can get more of a 6 o'clock tilt through the pelvis and maybe drop your knees towards the mat. Maybe you can just stay one foot tucked in front of the other, or maybe you'd like to tuck that foot between the thigh and the calf of the opposite leg. Just feel what feels good for you. You can relax your hands to the tops of your thighs. Maybe let's do palms just open today to indicate that you're open, receptive, radiating that energy, that confidence. And we're going to end off with a little bit of breath work. We'll play with Sakari, hissing breath. You're going to be inhaling through inhaling and exhaling through the mouth. And you're going to, for the inhalation, you're going to think of gnashing your teeth together, but keeping your lips really soft so that you can begin drawing or sucking air through the lips and the little gaps in your teeth, making a hissing sound. Then close your mouth and exhale through your nose. Rinse and repeat. Keep that breathing pattern going, looking for an audible, almost hissing-like sound on the inhale as you draw air in through the mouth, through your pursed lips and gnashed teeth, and then close the mouth and make a soft, almost imperceptible sound as you exhale through the nose. When you've finished your last round of Sitkari, keep that nice tall seat and bring your hands into prayer, but modify and give me nice open fingers so that your hands almost resemble a little sundial, radiating energy out to the universe as you end off today's practice by tapping your thumbs to your chest on the words Namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and playing. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, keep it light.